let's talk about the validate me guy. He's similar to the victim because he really doesn't want responsibility. He will often be characterized by inaction. Very rarely, very, very, very rarely will he lead. Because the easiest place to criticize what happens up here is from those seats. Right? The best thing to help people learn not to criticize leadership is to have to lead. I always tell people, I'm a dirty capitalist. Like, I believe in capitalism. I'm a libertarian. Went out to dinner with Ty and Gavin. And we were talking about something. And I was like, that's bad. The government shouldn't do it. Because we should have freedom. But I do think that they should pass a law that everyone has to be a server when they turn 18 for 1 year. Like, you could have a window from like 18 to 22. You have to be a server for 1 year. Because it'll help you learn not to criticize the server when you're getting slow service. Because you will learn firsthand all the things that are out of their control. But the validate me guy is like, yeah, that's a great idea, right? Because, hey, John said it. Good idea, John, right? He's just waiting for John to, yeah. And we're all tempted, right? Having a conversation, and like, I remember one time I was out for coffee with 3 guys that I really respect. And they're all saying something like, that's dumb. In my head, I'm like screaming, that's dumb. Oh, yeah, yep, mm-hmm. Because I just want them to validate me. You ever been there? Or is that just me too? They seek others' approval overall. Over everything, above everything. Now, here's the thing. We all want people to like us. But they seek this over everything. They decide what is right or wrong based off of those outcomes. So in Michigan, we just had 2 landmark cases. 3 years ago or 2 years ago, there was a student, Ethan Brumley. Well, that's not his last name. I don't know what it is. He went to school, got called into the principal's office because he drew some very disturbing pictures. Parents came in, they all had a meeting. Parents left. He went into the bathroom, pulled a handgun out of his bag, and went and killed 6 students. And ended up getting sentenced to jail for life. I think he made a plea deal. But his parents got charged with manslaughter. And the dad, I think just today, was convicted. Mom was convicted about a month ago. And a friend of mine's like, that's an awful decision. I said, why do you think that? And she said, well, don't you think that this is going to be bad for us counselors? Like, this is going to make us more liable. And I said, well, that's always the risk for what we do. But I said, I think that's the wrong order of questions. The first order of question is, was it the right decision? I'll just put all my cards on the table. I'm about the most pro-Second Amendment guy you'll meet. I literally think if you want a 50 caliber rifle and you want to carry it around, if you want to put a machine gun on the bed of your truck, as long as you've not committed a crime, you should be allowed to do that and drive it around however you want. I don't know that I would do that in Norfolk because y'all drive like it's a little bit like we're on the Indy 500 around here. But you could if you want. I really think that's constitutional. And I think those parents were guilty of manslaughter, which is what they were convicted of, because their negligence led to the death of other people. And my friend's like, yeah, but as counselors. And I said, well, first of all, you're a student to be a counselor. I'm actually a counselor, but that's just me being snarky. I said, but here's the first order of question. Was it the right decision? And then we worry about the precedent. Right? Have you ever heard somebody say, what would you do if you couldn't fail? I hate that question. Because that's like saying, what would you do if you owned a dragon? Well, they don't exist, so I don't know. What would you do if it didn't matter if you failed? And what mattered was that you tried. That's what the validate me mindset misses. It's not about the outcome. Did Jesus fail? Serious question. In discipling the apostles, did he fail? No. What if we measured it the day they all ran away? Right. But how often do we not do something because the people we're trying to lead might not follow? Because the outcome didn't turn out the way we thought it would. How many times do we revert to violence as a father? Maybe you don't hit them, but screaming and hollering and invoking fear. Because I tried it that other way and it didn't work. That's a validate me mindset. Because you're just looking for people like, yeah, man, me too. Whew. My kids, I told them to clean their room and they didn't. I had a guy tell me this thought. I was going to be like, oh, that's a great idea. My kids, I told them to clean their room and they didn't. So I took every dirty dish in the house and I put them on their bed and I even peed on the dishes. Did you hit your head? What do you mean? That's mean. Well, I'm not kidding you. My neighbor thought it was a great idea. Well, he needs some decision-making classes. Did you treat your kids the way you would want to be treated? Because I'm pretty sure that's a Bible verse. And your neighbor didn't write Bible. And I would say to him, did it not work, or were you not willing for it to fail enough for it to succeed? Because let's be honest, if Jesus lived today and we didn't know what we know from the Bible, the day everybody ran away, we'd be like, yeah, see, I knew there was something up with him. What was a carpenter's son thinking he could do? That's silliness. You know, that one woman who walked around with him, you know what she did? She was a hooker. I knew it wouldn't work. I always say you got to go along to get along. Validate me, baby. And we live out of this mindset. Now here's the rub. This is what makes it so dangerous. This is why the verse about pick your friends carefully. Because if they're not wise, they'll bring you to ruin. There's wisdom in talking to other people about what we're doing. That's what makes life so hard. But you have to be sure of what you're doing. And that's where the fight comes in. Fight the fight for the faith. We're not fighting the fight so we feel better. We're fighting the fight for the faith. They're almost always looking to shift responsibility away. Let me blame that person. You know, I bought a cat because, well, quite frankly, he had a sweatshirt. And they told me if I bought a sweatshirt, they'd give me one of those earth mover things. Paid $30,000 for a John Deere hat, you can get a tractor. I mean, I bought it because, you know, he said red was best. I did it because he said. Here's the rub. Here's where we move from seeking wisdom to validate me. I did it because I chose to do it. The truth is, I bought that truck because I chose to buy it. And I did. I ran the numbers. I talked to my wife. But at the end of the day, I'm responsible. I did it because I chose it. And I have to live in that reality. Validate me is characterized by often being seen in the Pharisees. They ran in packs. Again, right? You can see where the difficulty here comes. We just spent some time talking about Jesus sent them out in twos, doing things in groups. We read the verse from Ecclesiastes. But they ran in packs. Why do bullies... Here's an interesting question. I'll ask you two questions. Why do gangs grow? And why do bullies run in packs? You'll rarely find a bully by themselves.
Too scared to stand alone?
Too scared to stand alone? They validate each other, right? They literally live this out. That's the bullies. Why do gangs grow? If anybody does any simple thought about math on gangs, no one would ever join a gang. I was just on a cruise for our anniversary, and there was a dude there that had a gang tattoo on the crown of his head, and he had let his hair grow out, but he was balding. And so one day, I'm that guy. I was like, "Hey man, I got to ask you a question. The tattoo on the back of your head." He's like, "Yeah, you noticed that, huh?" I'm like, "Yeah, I also noticed you're old. And there's typically a saying, you don't meet a lot of old gang members." He's like, "That's true. Most of the guys I ran with died or are in jail." I was like, "Well, are you still in? Did you get out?" He's like, "No, I'm out." And we talked about it. And now he actually he has his own organization trying to work as a gang interventionist. Gangs grow because they give people identity and they help men feel dangerous. They help people feel protected. They're not. But that's actually why they grow. Because people feel protected. The validate me mindset values that above everything. Because here's the thing. If we're going to stick with Paul's analogy, fight the fight for the good faith. Are fights safe? Does anybody like getting punched? No, they're not safe. I have a couple buddies that we box. One guy has a kid that I'm so thankful graduated college and moved away. Because he punches like a freight train. And when it was my turn to get in the ring with him, I'd be like, "Oh, I think it just hurt my back. I don't think I can get in." The thing that saved me was he would pattern his punches. So once I went through like 10 years of my life, I could figure out whatever pattern he was using that day and usually win. Or he'd knock me out. Be careful with the validate me mindset because sin flourishes in this mindset. This is peer pressure. If I have one more person say to me, "We just need to be more selfish in our world." Really? Wait, back up. You really think of all the problems we have in our world, the problem is we're too selfless? That's as dumb to me as I'm from the government and I'm here to help you. That's really what you think? I heard a preacher say that. In a sermon. Well, it wasn't a sermon. It was supposed to be a sermon. It was a self-help talk. He's living in the validate me mindset. Sin flourishes here. Because here's the thing. Raise your hand if you actually like somebody saying to you, "Hey, you know what? I think that's sin." Yeah. What happens? We get defensive. People that live in this mindset will tell you a lot about what they're going to do. You ever meet that guy? He'll be content when? He's going to start a business when? He's going to go to church when? He's going to lead his family when? When he gets a girlfriend, he'll be happy. When he's married, he'll be happy. When she divorces him and he can be with his new girlfriend, he'll be happy. When they have kids, he'll be happy. When the kids get out of the house, he'll be happy. Because the validate me mindset says you're responsible to make me happy. Not only is that sin, but it's scientifically broken. Or, and this is my favorite, they'll tell you why what they're going to do is good because other people have told them it's good. I have a friend that invests in businesses, and one day we're out to lunch. Like literally out to lunch, not the, "oh, he's out to lunch" thing. And this guy shows up. He's like, hey, Tom, have you thought about that business idea I had? And Tom said, yeah, do you have a business plan? Like I asked you? No, not yet. But I mean, everybody I talk to says it's going to be dynamite. Welcome to the validate me mindset. I don't actually want to do the work that you've told me to do, but you should give me the money because my friends told me. I would be a better husband if my wife wasn't such a bad wife. Or, I would be a better church person. I don't even know what that means. I would be a better person if this thing didn't happen to me. The quality of our actions is not dependent upon what happened to us. The quality of my work on a floor, that is dependent upon my skill and my willingness to fail. Being kind, there's nothing that's happened to me that prohibits me from being kind. Controlling myself, self-control, the fruit of the Spirit, nothing has happened to me that prohibits that.